Welcome to day 94 of the 100 Days Python Programming Challenge. There are 6 more days to go. And today, what's our topic? Today, I would show you how you can build secure web forms with Flask WTF. You would learn how to create, validate, and manage user input seamlessly in Flask using the powerful WT Forms library. 6 more days to go. Hi there, and welcome to day 94. Can you believe it's 6 more days to go? 6 more days to go. It's day 94, and our topic is we're still on Flax because I find Flax to be amazing. But I think we'll do Flax maybe for the next 2 days and then wrap up the entire 100 days with something exciting. I don't know what that thing is yet, but we shall see. Today's topic is the Flask WTF. It's an extension for Flask that integrates the powerful form handling and validation library WT forms into your Flask project. So it is an easy way to create and manage web forms in Python, and it is also a built-in support for CSRF protection, that is cross-site request forgery, and a variety of fields. It provides variety of fields like text field, email field, password field, and it has robust set of validators that ensures that your user input is valid. That is, you can use set if the data is required and if it's an email, and also the length. So the first one that we're going to do is to install the Flask WTF. So I would have pip install Flask WTF WTF, and this should install Flask WTF. And we have it successfully installed. This is the version that we installed. So let's create like a basic WTF setup. So this is my file app.py, and by default, Flask WTF will use a secret key configuration in our app.config. If you have been following the Flask tutorial, we know that we've used secret key. So it is important to set a secret key for your CSRF protection. And I know I said it that when you're using, I'm just using this as demo, it has to be a really secured key so nobody can have access to it. So let's create our first form with the Flask WTF. So let's import some stuff. So from Flask WTF, I'm going to import the Flask form. I'm going to import the string field, the password field, the submit field, and the validators. So I'm importing them all. You see that here when we installed Flask WTF and also WT forms. Let me show you how I would use that. So from Flask WTF that we installed, we're importing Flask form. And Flask form is the base class from which all the form classes would inherit. And then we also have from WT forms, we imported Springfield, string field, and password field. This field are the field types provided by the WT forms. And we have the submit field is a special field for your form submission buttons. And then we have our validators. So we imported the data required and the length. So it's a list of validation checks, ensures that the field is not left empty. That is for the data required. And this one is also to ensure that is of a particular length. So we already have all our imports, and then let's have our no, not yet. We don't yet have all our imports. There are some things that we also have to import: our render template, our request, and our flash, because we're going to render template and we're going to use request, and we're also going to like flash messages to our users. So we also have to import that. So now we've imported everything. We have our secret key. The next thing we want to do is to create a registration class. And if you are wondering that, what is a registration class? Instead of placing your form field directly in our route or our template, we define a class that will inherit from the Flask form. And this class will hold the fields, the validation. And by doing this, all the form logics, such as which field exists, how they are validated, and what the labels are organized in one place. And this separation of concern makes our code more readable and maintainable. So instead of having it in the code, instead of having it in an HTML file, we have it together. So we'd have a class called our registration form, and this will take the username and also password and a submit button. And we'll use our string field, our password field, and validator, that is our data required, and we'll also set the length and also submit field. So everything that we imported here, we're going to use it in our registration class. So we would have everything here. So you see we have let me bring this down so you can see together. So you see we have our string field that we imported, password field for our password, and you see our validators, we have our data required, that it is required. And this is the length. Our username must be a minimum of 2 and maximum of 20. And the password field, a minimum of 6. So we use length, data required, password field, string field, and this is our submit field. Next, we want to have our decorator. That is our registration. We want to initialize our form. We want to be able to register our user. So this will be the home URL. And then we'll use the get and post. If you have not watched the request video, I suggest you do so. I've said this like 50 times. So this is our main URL, and we're using the method to get and also to post. So we want to do our registration. And since we have our registration form, I want to initialize it. So what we have here, I want to initialize our form. So our form is equal to registration form, and then I will then run a post request that has valid form data in my if statement. So then that is to show that if it is a get request, what it should do; if it is a post request, what it should do. So I'm using the method get and post to allow my routes to undo both the get, that is to fill the form, and the post to submit the request. And the registration form, it's initializing our form class. And then form validate on submit. It checks if the form was submitted, that is its post, and if it passes all our validation rule. So you see our username, it checks, is it submitted? Does it pass all our user rules? And then we don't want to flash that this username has been registered successfully. We talked about flash messages. So flash is a way to show messages in Flask. So Flash shows messages in Flask, and then success it's a category. But then if it's a get request, or if the form data is invalid, you can undo it by just rendering the form. So then if the form was submitted but it's not valid, we have to show an error that please check your form input, and you see the class is danger while this class is a success. So let me create like a register HTML so you can really see it at work. In my directory, I'm going to create a folder, and I will call that template. And in that folder, I'm going to create a file that I will call register.html. And in that file, I'm going to have my, we're using Flash message. So I have to have my Flash message, and I have to have my form. My form that will collect the username and the password, and would also have like a submit button. So this is my HTML code. I didn't save the Python code. So this is my HTML code. We have my title, we have my H1, and this is how I will display my Flash message. So I'll get Flash message, and with category equals to true. So what I'm setting in color. Remember in the last time we did Flash message, I was like, it's possible to set the color that if it is green, then it's success, and if it is red, it's not. So if the category is success, so you see we have there that the category is success, and then if the category is danger, then I want it to be green and red. There is a better way to handle this, because you see we get like a warning message that do not use empty rule set. So what I can do is to have CSS file, and then we'll put the CSS code there. So let's have our static folder. Bring it out. I don't want it in my template. And then in my static, I want to have CSS. And then in my CSS, I then want to have style.css. And then in my style.css, I will then have my flash.success and my flash danger. And then I will put the color in my CSS file. And then I would link my CSS file in my HTML. So I have linked my CSS to my HTML. So then we'll have to update this. Instead of putting this if category, I will then update it because now we're using our CSS code and the error is gone. Let me be sure that okay, now it's good. So the key point in our HTML is that we have, for instance, we have our form.eden. Our form.eden tag. This automatically inserts an hidden field that contains the CSRF token, and this is essential for Flask WTF to protect against CSFR attack. And we have our form username and our form password, our form username label and our form username. It renders the label and the input field for the form username attribute and also the password label and the form password. This renders the label for the input field of form attribute, and we have our form dot submit. We're also displaying flash messages like I explained earlier at the top of the form to show success or error. So now we have everything that we need. We have our register HTML, we have our style. Then let's render our template, because what template do we want to show in our when we go to this link? So I would now render the template register.html and form equals to form. So this is now what we have. So now let me run the application. Python app.py, and then if I go to my browser, we have our registration form. So I've put my username and password, and when I click on sign up, we see our successful message. But what if I now remember we said that our password should be a minimum of 6 characters. If I put less than 6 characters, so you can see the failed message. You see, please lengthen the text to 6 characters or more. You're currently using 3 characters. So we see that all our validators are working. You can add more validators if you want. You can ensure that the field contains a valid email. You can ensure that two fields has the same value, that you can have that is useful for password confirmation. And you can also use regular expression. So this is a simple way of how you can use the Flask WTF. We're able to install it. We configured our key. We created our form our form class, and then we instantiate and validate the form, and then we render the form in our HTML. We handled false form submission, and I even showed you how you can display the styling of the flash message so you don't have the styles inside your HTML code. Thank you for watching. See you tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching the tutorial. Do not forget to subscribe, like, and leave a comment if you have any questions. The link to the code is in the description to my GitHub. Download it, try it out, and let me know if you have any question. See you tomorrow.